Hi, hello, namaste. Welcome back to Needs of Children. Dear students, we are discussing about English medium social science, sociology, lesson number 3, the continued part of social movements. In the previous video, we get the information about social movement, meaning and nature, origin and evolution of movements, the concept about environmental movements. So these are the important concepts we are discussed in the previous class. Let's come to in this session we are going to get the more information about the continued part of social movements. Yes, women's movement. Among all the mass movements that took place during 1980s across the political parties, women's movement is very important. It is a movement that opposed the particular values exploiting women and the creation of inequality on the basis of gender. So, what are the reasons behind the women movements? So, dear students, let's come to the reasons for women movements. Even the literary world, many books have come out portraying the various alternative ideas against exploitation of women. In spite of all these protests, the number of women affected by dowry is still high. The exploitation of women in the independent India have underwent lot of transformation. The patriarchal values that considered women as a mere slave has created inequalities in the society. Physical and mental abuse, dowry harassment, rape, domestic violence, abuse, use of abuse words, acid attacks, kidnaps and human trafficking. So these are some of the violence it is happening against the women. Even honor killings. So such kind of the incidents is also takes place. For these, women are denied many rights explained in our Indian Constitution under the articles number 14, 15, 16 and 39 for equal rights for work and wages. Still, the women's movement is a movement that strives to achieve these goals. Now, let's learn more about these movements. Among that, the first one, alcoholic prohibition movement. Among various movements designed by women pressing for alcohol, prohibition is an important one. This movement is different as lot of women have shown a lot of unity in this struggle. Total alcohol prohibition was a part of freedom struggle. Gandhiji prospered the total prohibition concept during the freedom struggle. Even this also became a part of Chipko movement. It also became the part of environmental movements that took place in coastal Karnataka and in Malenadu. Kusma Sorabha and others along with her have lost their lives. Apart from this, women have protested against the sale of liquor in Hassan, Kolar, Mandya and Chamarajanagar district. Even alcoholism creates a lot of problems at personal level as well as community level. It has created severe problems in lives of rural women. The laborers lost their small earnings to this addiction. They often forcibly take away money earned by the wife. Hence, women have come together, organize protests against alcoholism, which has created a lot of problems in their life. So here are some of the important farmers movement. Farmers movements began with the denial of the land tax. Later, they tried to express their problem in the face of economic problems. Besieged their community during the later part of 21st century. During 1980s, among all the social movements, it is the farmers' movement that is more important. Among that, farmers' movement during 1970s, Devaraj Aras became the Chief Minister of Karnataka and urged in various social reformations. He strived to bring in various legal measures to free the downtrodden from the shackles of caste system. Measures were taken to free farmers from the clutches of tenancy system and bonded labor. Measures were taken to free farmers from the clutches of tenancy system and bonded labor. And even the minister, Mr. Basavalingappa, tried to eradicate the practice of carrying night soil on the head. In the later duration, farmers' movements were organized to attract the attention of the government for the various problems faced by the farmers. The governments tried to tackle the farmers' movement as politically motivated movement by using police, ordering fire and lathi charge. The farmers of Naragunda revolt against the government's attempts to use force against the farmers. The farmers' revolt of Naragunda was not only a protest high-handedness of the police, it was also a total pro-farmer movement. Even some of the farmers' movement, Karnataka state Ryot Sangha. After Naragunda revolt, the farmers' movement leader Professor M.D. Nanjundaswamy, a socialist, founded Karnataka state Ryot Sangha. This organization came into existence with the presidentship of Rudrappa, a Gandhian from Shivamogga. Professor M.D. Nanjundaswamy was named as the conveyor and N.D. Sundaresh was named as the secretary of the organization. It put forth various conditions due to unscientific price fixation. The farmers are the distress and hence the government should stop seize of the properties of the farmers for their debts. Villages which lack infrastructure should be developed immediately. Villages should get their share out of their resources extracted. Levy system should be stopped and many other demands were placed. So these are some of the very important farmer movements and their effects. So among that, even today the farmers movements are going on. Very recently the protested against the Mahadayi and Kaveri river water sharing judgments of the courts. So these are some of the farmers movement we can identify. So these are about the farmers. Let's move on to labor movements. Usually labor movement or trade unions represents the ordinary workers. Labor movement is a movement demanding better working conditions and pay for the workers along with the demand for the implementation of labor related to legal provisions. The movement that is held through the trade unions is also called as labor movements. In many countries, trade unions have also become the political parties. Pro-labor philosophy has been evolving in opposition to exploitation of the capitalism. So how the beginning of labor movements? In European countries, due to industrialization, there was a drop in the employments available in agricultural sector and more employment were there in the industrial sector. This resulted in the migration of workers towards industries. This led to over-exploitation of workers. They were forced to work for longer hours. The laborers became aware of this exploitation and became organized opposing these developments. During 19th century, workers' parties and trade unions started organizing workers all over the world. The International Working Men's Association is the first labor union established in London in the year 1864. Here you can see the picture about the International Working Men's Association image. Main aim of this association was to protect the interest of the workers. They wanted to implement 8 hours shift of working only. The labor movement spread to other parts of the world during later part of the 19th century. In order to protect the social security of workers, the government of India implemented Act in the year 1923 to ensure social security. This Act helped the Indian trade unions. The various associations could gain legislative recognitions. After this, many laborers' unions were started and they have continued to protect the rights of the workers. There are many labor unions who have continued with the work. So that is about the concept of labor movements. So let's move on to the concept of untouchability prevention movement. Untouchability is an inhuman practice of stratified society. Before the implementation of Constitution, the ideals like untouchables should be untouched, should not stand next to him, were in vague. Untouchability prevention movement is a movement aimed at achieving eradication of the practice of untouchability and attacks on the untouchable people. The untouchable communities have been fighting for their rights for many years. So we shall see a brief history of this movement. So here is the history of Prohibition of Untouchability movement. The history of untouchability opposition movement in the 19th century. Jyotiba Phule organized a movement including untouchables and backward classes. The aim of the movement was to oppose Varna system and resist dominance of caste and social system. With this aim, various movements were started in the states like Karnataka, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh during 1970. By the 1925, Periyar Ramaswamy started self-importance movement in Tamil Nadu. Ambedkar continued to assert the rights of untouchables and women throughout his life. He started a periodical named called as Mookanayaka and was instrumental in creation of various movements against the practice of untouchability. With idea of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar on gender discrimination, untouchability, the movement became more powerful. In the roundtable conferences of 1930s, Ambedkar called the untouchables to become the rulers of India. Even Ambedkar continued his fight for the rights of Dalits. Among that, Gandhiji considered the liberation from untouchability along with the national freedom. He was a social reformer. Even today, many organizations and associations are active in the work of eradication of these evil practices. So that's it about today's session. I hope you have understood till now what we are discussed. In case if you having any doubts related to the social movements, the entire lesson you can comment in the comment box. I will solve your doubts. And I will come back with the next video. Until, keep watching my channel. Thank you. Have a nice day. See you in the next session. Bye bye. Take care.